What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bring the Thunder podcast. Little hiatus, but we are back. Such a dry off season. We're really in the dog days of the off season, but that does mean we are getting closer to the start of the regular season, start preseason. We're getting there. But for this little episode, Sapir and I are going to be doing Clemente Almanza's annual Thunder fan survey. So what we're going to do is we're going to be filling it out as fans, and you guys can follow along and fill it out with us, and we'll just dive right into it. He's going to be posting his results tomorrow. So
they'll be out soon. It usually takes a little bit of time, but whenever they do come out, like we'll obviously get an update on his X, and you guys can follow him there. But let's go ahead and talk about this fan survey. I actually love filling this out every single year. I think it's a great idea that they, I think there's a couple out there, but I like Clemente's. So the first question is, how would you grade the Thunder's off season? What are you thinking here, Joe?
Yeah, so you got to break down a lot of moves. I mean, we did the extensions for the big three, so that's always great. Draft, we've graded our draft picks already. I think it's a decent draft, but I'm just gonna give it an A, just because when you're able to lock down your three best players for years to come, how can you not go that way?
Yeah, I feel like. Oh man, I feel like I'm leaning more closer to like a B plus, but I'm gonna round up and give it an A. I feel like the moves were solid. I was expecting a little bit maybe more flexibility on some of the contracts and everything, but overall, I mean, we can't be disappointed with how things have gone. So, just from like a sentimental side, like
right. I mean, I could see like the BB plus.
Yeah,
especially, but it's hard when you're in that position. You got to extend your three best guys, and then you just won the championship, so there's not a lot of like big splashes that you can make. So I'm still sitting A, but I could see the B plus for sure.
Yeah, and you never know. There's still time. You never know. There's a move to be made.
Maybe
Presti's a late mover usually in the dog days of the offseason. He's always working his overtime. So how many games do we think the Thunder are going to win next season? I'll take this question first, and I'm going to sit here and say, man, the option that I want isn't on the list. So I'm going to create my own, which is 70 plus. I think we're going to win at least 72 games. It's not stated there. I've been wrestling with the idea of will we be resting more or will we be going after it? And I think like human nature wise, when you're competitive and you have the right culture, you end up going for it. And that's how Shea is. And that's how kind of the organization is overall. Like, yes, we're, optimistically cautious a lot of the time. We do a lot of different, roster change-ups or whatever. But as long as Shea's healthy, 70 plus wins. Easy for me.
Yeah, Bring the Thunder is a little split up on this one. I think a few of us had like record-breaking season, 70 plus wins. I'm sitting around like 65, 66. Not because I think they're going to get worse, not because I think that they're not going to try as hard. I just think, it's a really long season. Everything has to go the right way, even though last year it really didn't during the season with all the injuries we had. But I still like to be, like you said, cautiously optimistic. I do expect a 1 seed, no less than 2. But the West got a little bit better this offseason, so I'm going to sit around the 61 to 70 range. But I don't see it being any lower than that with a relatively healthy season.
Yeah, I think we're locked in to the 1 or 2 seed if we're above 60 wins in the West. So I like that shout out. I wonder what everyone's going to say in the comments or just in general on Instagram when we post it there. So how deep do we think the 2026 playoff run will be? Oh man, once we've kind of smelled blood in the water, we're like sharks out here, man. Especially with the type of guys that we have. They're all pretty hungry, young. before I was a little bit more cautious going into the playoffs, but nothing less than at least going to the finals, nothing less than being champions at this point. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the one thing I'll say, or a couple things I'll say actually. Western Conference should get better, and if we do pick up injuries, sure, we may not make it back. If we do make it back to the finals, we're not losing. We're not losing to Cleveland. We're not losing to New York, and those are the two best teams in the East right now. Um, I'm going NBA champs, healthy again, locked and loaded. Couple rookies, Topic, Sorber, evolution of AJ Mitchell, evolution of J Dub, Shea, Chet. They're all still young. I only see us getting better, and I got to go with NBA champs. If we aren't going to make it, it's going to be Western Conference Finals. It might be against Denver. Um, that's about it for me there. So I'd like to say NBA champs because I don't see an opponent on the Eastern Conference that could take us down this year.
Yeah. NBA champs if we get there. The West is kind of the only chance that has of like stopping us. The other person I want to shout out this offseason for putting in the work is Isaiah Joe recently, Aaron Wiggins recently, also been putting some good work in the gym. Recent moves for Sam Presti, I feel like prior to this championship, whether he won or lost, was going to be a big narrative around whether he should stay with us or whether he should leave, which is a crazy thing. Even like for me, like when it comes to the players, like the big three and Sam Presti, like whether we lost or won that last, playoff series or whatever, I don't think it changed my perspective or perception, but I think a lot of people's was relying on it. I mean, man, his recent moves overall, like Queso, just the guys that he's drafted, Chet, and then the extensions, locking up long-term contracts with Wiggins. I mean, he's made phenomenal move after phenomenal move. The key word there is recent. So I'm going to go with amazing moves. He's cleared up cap space to bring in Hartenstein, which is one of the best free agents we've brought in. I mean, he's only been having like an uphill climb in terms of the moves. It feels like they just keep getting smarter and smarter the further we get into the CBA.
Yeah, recent moves to me is the past two off seasons, and I got to give it an A. I already gave this past off season an A. If this past off season an A, last off season's like an A plus 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 plus. He brought in Hartenstein, he brought in Caruso. The year before that, drafting Casey Wallace. Actually, drafting Casey Wallace, trading Lively for Casey Wallace, ended up winning us a championship. So easy A for sure.
Yep. And then faking out the whole NBA that he wasn't going to take Chet when most insiders in Oklahoma City circles knew he was, which was a crazy move too. So he's amazing. How do we grade Mark Dagnall's coaching? This is crazy that this is on here after the run we just had, because this is probably the most critical podcast of Mark Dagnall. Like,
Absolutely.
probably the one of the few that talks a lot about his game plans and about his substitution patterns, and probably focuses in a lot about the coaching. I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that overall. Like whether it's been positive or negative comments, we've covered it.
Yes. For me, it's a very tough question because he is an NBA championship coach. I don't like Mark Dagnall's coaching patterns. I don't like his substitutions. I don't hate, but I don't love the player coach aspect where super good to the guys, doesn't really get into their face, kind of lets them figure it out on their own, which is good and bad. That's not my favorite. I think Mark Dagnall, it's like a C coach. I'm not going to lie. I think we had one of the better rosters in the past few years of the NBA, and that just took him to the finals and won it. Throughout that playoff stretch, there was a lot of games that we should have won, a lot of games that were pretty much lost coaching errors and coaching mistakes. So I got to give him a C. I mean, maybe a B since he won the chip, but I'm still not completely sold on Coach Mark.
Yeah. Considering this was kind of his run to prove it, and he did, it kind of gives me more, benefit of the doubt vibes. I was leaning, close to like a C to C plus, but I want to round up for him just to be at least. I want to see another year and see if he can start bringing a little bit more consistency.
Yes.
I feel like that's the key term that I'm looking for from like the coaching staff. Like I need to see some consistency out of the coaching. I love the experimentation, but that can still be consistent, right? Like you can still you what I said when I crashed out during the playoffs when we were down to Indiana was
Oh, yeah.
my biggest thing was how did we experiment all year long not to know what our lineup's going to look like? And that can't happen 2 years in a row. So I don't want to see that happen. So I just want him to, commit to some sort of game plan. I don't mind that it's experimental. Like it's a catch-22 situation. We want him to experiment to make the players better, but we also want to see consistency at the same time. I feel like a little bit more balanced approach can get him, to a solidified B. But I'm going to give him a B for now, but he can slip during the next time we talk about this, because if he
Right.
continues this and we have some wacky losses, and there isn't, that lack of consistency, and then eventually role players are going to start asking out, man. Like these guys
Right.
deserve way more money than what they're worth and they're getting, and eventually they'll be like, hey man, I'd rather see my contract somewhere else and then get a bigger bag when I have an expanded role. And there's so many guys that can say that I need an expanded role. So he needs to figure out who's really going to get that and who's not, because
Can't
it's
tend to can't tend to everybody. And
yeah,
that's something he likes to do. Even in the playoffs, he did it. I will. I'm still holding on to C, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he is as young as these players are in his coaching age, right? So he's a
yeah,
super young coach. He's still new to it. He's growing with the players, um, which is cool to see. But I hope he moves up. But I'm keeping it
yeah.
as a C right now.
Yeah, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt with the B because we won it. So it's really hard for me to say anything lower.
Right.
But from like just a pure coaching perspective, I think there's some holes that we definitely poked at, and there's definitely some things that we're gonna look for him to improve. Let's move over to how we grade the 2025 draft class. I think we have already done this, so this should be um, pretty quick. I was pretty high on these guys. I like the overall pickups, and then I kind of include Topic into the mix, which kind of bumps up the rating for me, which is an A. The more I thought about Sorber, the more I've sat and just thought about it as the offseason has been a grind. I'm
Right.
liking him more and more. I think it's just a no lose situation with him and the guys that we got, like Topic and him. Like it's just like even if they don't pan out, they're just such a high upside pick, and that's kind of what I was looking for. Like a big power forward looking guy with Sorber, and then we have a point guard that backs up. It's like I couldn't ask for anything more, so I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah, it's super interesting class. Obviously, they weren't the highest pick, so can't be too hard on it. For me, it's kind of like Presti saw last year's formula, the roster, and wants to continue that same roster for as long as he can. Sorber being, similar in ways to Hartenstein, uh, and then Brooks Barnheiser similar in ways to like Alex Caruso, hustle type guys, Case and Wallace, without the shooting so far. But yeah, I enjoy the class. It's hard for me to grade it right now without having seen them play. Obviously we've seen Brooks play in summer league, but we didn't see Thomas. So I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it a B. I like it. He's not changing much up. Add some big man depth, hopefully, if Sorber's any good. Um, and yeah, I think he did well.
I think that's a great point that you made about how the players that he's kind of bringing in to replace the more expensive guys are similar, just a little less skilled, and they have time to grow into that. So
Right.
that's super interesting that he's thinking about like, okay, we won a championship with this style, and we're going to continue to replicate it, and let's see how that kind of works out in the future. But how do we grade these, three contracts? I know we've probably made individual videos on each of them, but now that we've kind of had a month off of just thinking about what's happening with these guys, I'll kind of go ahead and address the Shea contract. It's looking cheap, man.
Yeah,
For like, the more I think about it, the other guys that are getting similar contracts, like the other guys that I like looked at the similar profile for 4 years, like 289, 285, like the John Morants, the JJJs, there's a bunch of other guys, Jaylen Brown. There's all these guys that have such big money contracts, even like Tatum. Even to think, Luka got his new contract, and I'm really happy with Shea's number now. So I
yes,
get happier as time goes on, and I think over the next 4 years, when it's even a $70 million contract and he's earning $1 million per or whatever, like, that's not going to look bad at all. We're going to be like, oh my gosh, he's making the same as freaking Booker, and he's got his third ring or something. Like, we're
right.
totally happy with that.
Yeah,
It's an A.
you hit everything there. You hit everything there. I don't got much to say. A plus, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, got to be an A plus. I mean, it's going to age beautifully. How do we grade this J-Dub extension? 5 years, 287. Similar in deal in terms of Chet. They both got the same baseline, which is like 5 years, 250. The only difference with J-Dub is obviously he got that recognition for All-Star, so he gets that little bump. I think the Chet one is definitely an A. I think because of the extra money that J-Dub can make, which he's fully earned. Man, I hate pocket watching, so I'm going to give it an A as well. But I think, we were a little bit tougher with Chet in terms of not giving him the same
Right.
maybe due diligence, and maybe he still can work in that extra money over time or whatever. He can
Right.
renegotiate whatever. So I think he'll still get his, and so that I want to give these guys all A's because they earned it. They won their championships. There's no question marks with them. We know who they are. I mean, J-Dub won a freaking ring with one hand. There was a question that I think King Capers posted on his Instagram, between him or Jaylen Brown. And I'm like, dude, this dude literally won with one hand. And
Right.
Jaylen Brown only has one hand as well. So it's like,
Right.
imagine this guy with two hands. Like, dude, he's literally the best small forward in the freaking NBA at such a young age. So yeah, steals of a contract all across.
Yeah, I think Shade's an A. I think Chet's an A. I think Dub's an A.
Mm-hmm.
You knew he had to get more than Chet, right? He had the All NBA, he had the All Star, so
Yep.
he had to get more than Chet. I love them all. I think Chet's gonna blossom into a fucking, excuse my language, but absolute beast. Especially in these up next few years, and then J Dub's only gonna get better. Like you said, I think he's gonna climb into that conversation of being the best small forward in the league. We'll do another video about that shortly. But yeah, let's move on. I don't want to get so far into that conversation.
Yeah, we got. How do we handle Isaiah Hartenstein's future? I feel like these are such good questions that Clemente has kind of formed for us, because these are all the important ones that everyone's probably asking outside of Thunder group chats, or even inside of Thunder group chats all the time.
Right.
Like I've probably talked about this. I think the first option is a no-go. It just doesn't make financial sense. We structured it in a way that it was front-loaded so he can get his money early, so he can sign with us. Obviously, we didn't want him going anywhere else. It made a lot of sense to do that. We won a championship off of that. But it does not make sense to re-up on that same level, considering the statistical presence that he's brought. That's no offense to him. Like, he has a role around Chet, so it's not going to be where he gets maximized. So
Right.
that doesn't mean to say that he doesn't deserve 28 million. Like I think on any other team, they'd pick up that option instantly and need to be a starting level center.
No doubt.
With us, I think the goal is a little bit different with winning rings. I think either of the two options, I personally side with the decline and sign to a new contract, and I think he's going to be very willing to sign with us. He got his money early. He has more opportunity to win rings. He likes the culture here. These guys feel like they're all family. If he doesn't feel like the contract is fair, it's not a fair number, and he wants to test the market, I think Presti will let him walk if that's what they come together and say. Like, I can see that happening as well, but I prefer to sign him to a new contract. I mean, he's a starting level center that plays alongside Chet Holmgren. So,
yeah, I absolutely agree. I would say decline and try to sign him to a new extension. Obviously, if that doesn't work and he wants to test the market, that's why they brought in Sorber. But one of our top priorities now should be to get him on a new deal, a team-friendly deal. Like you said, I think he would, be team-friendly. Everybody on this team has been team-friendly, bench guys, starters.
Yep.
And I think he loves it in OKC, so that would be, that's how I would handle it.
Yeah. I looked at the long-term breakdown of the 3 contracts that we signed. It's not really that bad. We can get him on a team-friendly deal, I believe, on a 4 or 5 year deal, something like that, long-term. Just let him ride it out with us, and I'm sure they can make a number work that's not that high into the 25 plus millions. So
yeah, I don't want to keep dragging this, but he deserves it. I mean, he knows for him to stay in OKC, it has to come down a bit, but he deserves every penny that was given to him. I mean, he came in and we won a championship the same year that he came in. So obviously he had a big role. So get him re-signed and don't let him leave.
Yeah. I'd love for us to figure that out, and I think this will be a big offseason to do that. We have a lot of team options with like AJ, Kenrich, Jay Will to kind of make some cap flexibility in case, there's a little bit of hard ball being played, which I do assume will happen. So we have flexibility. We've planned for this, so do not mind at all. Which of these 3 players do we feel like is most expendable to move on from? And I know what my answer is. I'm going to go ahead and just say it. I love Alex Caruso. It's mainly due to age. There's nothing personal there. Like, love him as a person, love him as a player. He's the bald eagle. He is that guy. OKC blue player, but just for, the roster that we have, we need guys around the age of the core, and he just doesn't fit that mold. So he'd be the guy that kind of is left out, and definitely not Cason Wallace. Lou Dort has a big enough contract to make a case.
Yeah, this is I don't like that he asked me this question.
I know.
I guess I have to agree. Like, Cason Wallace would replace Alex pretty nicely, but they also played very well together on the court. So,
yeah,
the answer is Caruso, but don't clip me on that one. Just move on to the next question, please.
Yeah. I don't want to get clipped on any of these guys because it's kind of ridiculous. Like, he's our 6th man, practically most consistent guy coming off the bench, and even in a starting role in 2 series in a row, like lockdown Jokic practically won us the finals. Like,
dude, he guarded JJJ, he guarded Jokic, he guarded Anthony Edwards.
Freaking ridiculous.
He guarded everybody.
Yeah, it's literally one of the most ridiculous defensive runs I've ever seen in the playoffs. Like, that's why it's like, it's obvious for me, but then it's like, oh man, I hate basing stuff on like numbers and even, his age. It's like, gosh, tough choice. Which of these 3 players would be most expendable to move on from? Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams. I feel like we're just getting clip farmed here, man.
Yeah, we are, and I think we walked right into this one. But I guess I'll start here. Mine's Isaiah Joe.
Okay.
when it came down to playoffs, I think that Wiggs and surprisingly enough, Kenrich really stepped up. Wiggs was huge in the finals. Kenrich was big as well. And he's just great for the morale, man. I mean, again, don't want to get rid of any of them, but it'd probably be Joe.
Yeah. I hate not answering questions, so I'm going to say Kenrich Williams because he has the option. It just seems like it's very likely. It's a very movable contract. It just doesn't. I don't know. Like I can see either of the other two because on movable contracts as well. So, yeah. Good luck to Sam Presti making that choice and the other choice.
We'll leave that to him.
Yeah, both of those will be left up to him because I have no idea what he's going to do. Let's move over to who is the Thunder's biggest threat in the West. And I actually read before we got on here, Clemente mentioned the Mavericks, just to give him a quick shout out. What are you thinking, Joe?
Yeah, I think he's damn right. Listen, it's obviously the Nuggets. They got really, really good this offseason, much better than last year, I think. And in my opinion, I think it's like a 1A, 1B situation unless proven otherwise. Because I think Denver really stepped it up this offseason to get that help around Jokic. Now, the rest of those teams could go scratch. You saw what we did to the Timberwolves, the Lakers, or whatever. Marcus Smart's great. And then Houston, I mean, they're led by KD, so I'm not worried about that at all. The Dallas Mavericks, I'm telling you, if Flag is a hit, and he doesn't even have to be the best, version of himself his first year, they're going to be hard to beat. Flag's a big dude, super athletic. AD is huge and, obviously super athletic and a great player on his own. They also have Gafford and Lively, PJ Washington. Obviously, Kyrie needs to return from that injury, but when he does, I mean, they're looking dangerous as hell. They also have depth now with D'Lo, like when Kyrie comes back. So that's a loaded roster. I think they're the third best team in the West right now, and obviously the biggest threat is Denver. I don't think Dallas is too far behind.
Yeah, once they're healthy and we kind of see how that roster starts gelling, I think they'll start climbing the rankings. I think I got my reporters mixed up here. I think it was Stephen A. Smith who mentioned Mavericks as the biggest threat out west. That's the headline that I had read. Maybe it was on
something I actually agree with him for once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw it on the OKC Wire website. So
gotcha,
that was the headline with Stephen A. Smith. For me, I'm going to go with I really don't see any of these teams as a true threat, to be honest.
You know who the best one there is, though. Like
yeah. I think the Nuggets is the only one that I have realistic pause with, because of Jokic. But I think MPJ, losing him when he had an injury during the series that we played him against. I feel like if they were fully healthy, they could have given us problems like we mentioned. That two players, had some injuries, so it's like could have gone either way, right? You never know, and that's where it kind of gives me pause. I'm curious if they bring Russell Westbrook back. I think that'd be a big addition to their bench, to be honest, with the amount of additions that they already have. So I'm going to go with the Nuggets. That's the only one that I'm even remotely afraid of. Everyone else, to be honest, not really. Mavericks are right there as well. If they gel and Kyrie looks like Kyrie, and Cooper Flag is way better than people think. So, and Anthony Davis has slimmed down too. Like, that's crazy that the Lakers got freaking Luka to slim down, and then Anthony freaking Davis is slimmed down. That's bigger news to me than Luka slimming down, because Luka's done it before. Anthony Davis in shape, that's freaking dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, if he's not hurt, dude, that's dangerous.
Another thing that's dangerous,
people forget about him.
He doesn't have to play the 5 either. He never wants to play the 5, and now he doesn't have to ever. So,
yeah, that even helps his overall injury history and everything. So, super interesting there. Is SGA the greatest and best Thunder player ever now? For me, easy yes. I see Joe shaking his head Hit the explanation, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there is none. We've talked about this throughout the whole season. We talked about this after the season ended. It's yes, he brought a championship to Oklahoma City. We all love Russ. He could be our favorite player. Shea's the greatest to ever put on the uniform, and there's no doubt about it. And he's only going to get better. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to explain much more than that. We've already talked about this.
Yeah. He'll be one of two players to get a retired statue in front of the new stadium. So whenever he does end up retiring alongside Russell Westbrook. So the answer is yes, greatest and best. And I think that'll remain for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Last question here. How should Kevin Durant be treated on opening night? I think he's going to get booed if I had to guess. I don't think anyone's necessarily cheering for him. They don't really care for him. I think the top two options is going to be ignore him overall. Like, I don't think a lot of people don't have an opinion anymore for him because he didn't bring us anything. He had great years with us, but there are going to be people that have resentment towards him because of the style of decision he made, the weakness in the decision. But I think he's going to get a couple of boos. I don't think it's going to be that serious. They'll move on from it. I've even started moving on from this whole KD opening night thing. The longer it's, the narrative's going on, because it's like, man, even I'm getting over it. It's like KD didn't bring us anything. We got Shea. He's way better. Like, that fulfillment is gone. We've got the championship. What he did to us, that feeling is gone for me, to be honest. Like, yeah, I kind of resent him a little bit, but it's like, oh well, like,
I
don't care anymore.
Love to hear you say that, honestly.
Yeah,
I agree with you for sure. They will boo him, and I think he deserves a little bit of boos, actually, from what he's been writing on Twitter. Guy, just gotta shut up for once, dude. Like, you're the biggest coward ever. Like, just shut up. You can't really defend yourself, man, and whatever. I would actually choose none of these, though. I think we should laugh at him. I think laughing at him and making him feel like a coward, and I think that would be the best option there. But yeah, boo, laugh at him, make fun of him, and then beat him. Please beat him.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely win the game with the energy, with the healthy squad. I think he'll low-key probably be embarrassed, and I've never seen KD to be the guy that when he's on an underdog situation to ever step up, and I don't see him doing that now. So that's my last little dig at him. So
yeah, he's not a worry, not a care in the world for that guy right now.
Yeah, exactly. We appreciate you guys for joining us for this quick recording. Probably felt quick for everyone listening, considering there hasn't been news, and this is probably the best thing we can discuss. We are going to have some updates coming up here for the next episode. We have probably some extra videos coming out for you coming up this upcoming week. Super excited about that, and we're ready to kind of get things rocking and rolling overall and do a full year of coverage. I'm super excited. Like, we kind of started halfway. We're on a back-to-back title run, which is crazy to even say those words in Oklahoma City. Like, back-to-back title run. Every time I say it, it's like I'm still dreaming. We got about 60 days until tip off, and on top of that, just every guy has had a celebration in their hometown with a trophy. Dort just had his in Montreal. He took some digs at his lifelong friend Ben Mather, and I saw that. I'm trying to see if there's any other things that we needed to talk about. This reminds me, before we end things off, we have the Beasley news. Could you break that down for us, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, Malik Beasley really earned himself a fat contract with his play last season, but then got caught into some gambling accusations that have been proven false. So now with that being said, I mean, he's a fantastic player, one of the better shooters in the NBA from this past season. Um, OKC lacks in shooting. It could be an option. I don't necessarily think it'll happen. Presti doesn't strike me to go out and get a guy that was just coming off a scandal. He also doesn't come off as a guy who's going to go spend money for a guy that doesn't fit his brand very well. But he is out there, so a lot of teams will be inquiring about him shortly.
Yeah, yeah. Now that it's kind of fully kind of in the all clear zone, I think he's going to get more of the money that he deserves. I think the initial outline was like he'll get closer to his pre-news stuff, but I think now that the news is kind of the more it lingers, he's going to get more and more money.
Right.
The more his name kind of gets cleared. He's doing like a counter lawsuit against them for defamation. The further that goes, I think that helps his case as well. So hopefully he gets the money he earned and deserved and gets his name cleared up, and maybe not the best option money-wise with us, because they're estimating 7.2 million, and there's just no way a guy of his caliber only gets that. I'm sure there's going to be teams that are willing to overpay. The Nets need players like they need water. So I'm sure they got money laying around for him. So
just one last thing, just bear with us, guys. We're going to pump out a bunch of content. Obviously, like I mentioned, it's the dog days. It's coming soon. It's all coming soon. I mean, training camp's in less than a month. Actually, yeah, about a month to the day. And the media day is right around the corner. So we're getting back. We're getting back to it soon. And like Safir said, we'll have a full year this year, and I can't wait to do it, and can't wait to see all you guys and hear from you guys. Really appreciate everybody watching. If you aren't subscribed and you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It's free to do. And we will see you guys next time. Thunder up, baby. Let's go.